Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining in. This is your host, Prithvi Raj here, and I welcome you all to this Chaos Engineering Meetup. We used to call it Kubernetes Chaos Engineering Meetup when it was initiated, so the name has stayed with you. And this is a meetup organized by the Litmus community, and I welcome folks joining in from around the world to this meetup. So, I mean, obviously, just giving you a background of this meetup, we started off this a couple of years ago, and this meetup is based on talking about chaos engineering. Usually, folks from the Litmus community join in and talk about various factions of the Litmus Chaos project, or even external folks join in and talk about chaos engineering projects here and there, talk about new functionalities, principles, basic ideas, and a lot of things more. So before I go ahead, I'll just go ahead and share some resources with you, the GitHub link, the resources which help you get access to the introduction to chaos or the principles of chaos, and a lot more, which are already published in our YouTube channel. So you can just take a look in case there's something you are not able to find here. It's you just want an introduction to chaos engineering, then you can always take a look at the YouTube channel and get access to that. So moving ahead, I'll just share the agenda for today. So perhaps if you can see my screen, then the agenda for today, as you can see, is Om Kale will be talking about creating your own experiments with the Litmus Python SDK, where you can create your own experiments, build your own experiments. Then Amit Das will be talking about the enhancements to the Chaos Center. The Chaos Center has been enhanced and has some upcoming enhancements as well, which will improve your chaos engineering experience. And lastly, Udit Gaurav will be talking about E2E dashboards with Litmus Chaos, which have seen a lot of enhancements lately with the LFX mentees coming in and the contributions from the community. So before wasting any other time, I mean, obviously you can post your questions in chat, or if you want something to be discussed, we can discuss it later on in the open floor discussion that we usually have after the agenda items are done with. So before I get started, I mean, I'll just like to give you all a warm welcome again to the Chaos Engineering Meetup today. So we have a lot of new folks. I think we can obviously go and you can feel free to introduce yourselves in chat, and we can try and have an introduction session later on. So I think Om has some issues and he'll be jumping in on as the second item in the agenda. So I think I'll allow Amit Das to talk about the enhancements to the Litmus Chaos Center to improve your chaos engineering journey. So Amit, the floor is all yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Prithvi. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Amit, you're
Yeah.
audible.
So I'll probably share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Amit.
Yeah. So hi everyone. I'm Amit Kumar Das, software engineer at Chaos Native and a contributor to Litmus Chaos. So today I'll be talking about some of the new features like that we are working on and which should be available in the coming releases. So let's get started. So first of all, the first feature that we have added is like now you can upload some basic cargo workflows directly from the Chaos Center. Earlier, we only used to support the Chaos workflows, like which consist of Chaos Engine and Chaos Experiment Manifest. But now you can also upload some of the native or basic cargo workflows. So let me try to upload one of the basic cargo workflow. Yeah. So this is one of the basic Argo workflow, which is like dag.yaml, and it consists of some nodes in some diamond form, diamond structure. So I'll just try to construct the workflow and like schedule it, and I can finish it. So I've created this basic Argo workflow, and it might take some time to finish. Okay, we can see like it's creating some nodes here. And the best part of Chaos Center is like even though we have prepared it for the Chaos workflows, it also supports like the basic Argo workflow. We can see that all the nodes are getting rendered properly, and we can also see the logs of the different nodes. So if I click on the item like echo node, I can see it shows me the A item, which is from this node. And if I click on some other echo node, then it will tell me the previous nodes like the C item. And similarly here we have the B item, and in the last we have the D item. So the YAML manifest for this is like, I can probably show it to you as well. So we can see like this is the workflow manifest, And in this, we don't have any chaos engine or chaos experiment. It is purely a basic Argo workflow. So like with this feature or like with this enhancement, you can also run basic Argo workflow from the chaos center. And moving on, the second feature that we have added or like we are currently working on is the advanced tune feature. So let me try to schedule a workflow. So I'll try to create it from the hub. And I think like you're pretty much aware of this page, how this works. I'll add a experiment and I'll add the native pod delete experiment. And I'll target one of the application. So it's in my testing namespace and I have the Nginx app running. So I'll just select it and continue with the tuning process. So now we can see like we have two options here. One is the revert schedule option and one is the advanced tune for the workflow. So in the revert schedule, like we like some of the users who are getting confused, like will it revert the overall workflow or will it delete only the chaos engines? So basically the revert schedule is the revert chaos step, which actually deletes the chaos engine resources. Once the experiment or the workflow is completed, it deletes all your runner pod, all your chaos engines, etc. But in the advanced tune workflow, we have some new options like the node selector option, the toleration option, and the cleanup chaos workflow pod resources. So with the cleanup pod, if I enable this, I get an option like pod GC strategy. So with this option, you can either delete all of your workflow pods either after the workflow completion or once your workflow is successful, all your resources related to that workflow would be deleted. So for the time being, I'll just use it like on workflow completion. And similarly, we have some new options like the node selector one. If I click here, I can see I have an option to add my node name here. Like I'll provide the Minikube here. And for toleration, we have a few other options here as well. So like we have effect key operator value. I'll just add some random values here. So if I click the save changes, I should see that these changes are actually present in my manifest also. So I'll just go down. Okay, so I can see like in the node selector section, I provided Minikube. In the toleration section, I provided these values. And in the pod GC section, I have provided the strategy as on workflow completion. So I'll just save these changes. And probably if I like, I don't want tolerations right now, so I can just switch it off and save the changes. And if I preview my YAML again, I can see that the toleration changes are not visible now. Only the node selector and the pod GC strategies currently visible. So I'll just try to schedule this workflow as well. Yeah, so the workflow has been successfully scheduled. So like once the workflow is completed, all my workflow resources, including all these pods like install chaos experiment pod or this custom chaos workflow pod will be deleted since I've enabled the pod GC strategy. So like this will help you to maintain your resources while running some chaos experiments. And yeah, these were some of the new enhancement or new feature, we can call it, that we're working on. It should be available by to all by the next release. So like, do you have any questions? I see one like, how can someone be a chaos engineer? Like Amit, you need to create chaos everywhere in your K-test cluster. And like we also support the non-K-test chaos experiments. So just be ready to create chaos anywhere. So Prithvi might share you some resources, Amit. You can like take a look and how everything works. So it might help you in your chaos engineering journey.
So Amit, I think I'll answer a part of your question. How can someone be a chaos engineer? So the first things first is, I mean, any persona can be a chaos engineer. It can be an SRE, it can be a developer, it can be a platform engineer, it can be a reliability engineer. The second thing is obviously understanding your infrastructure. Once you understand your infrastructure and you understand the value of chaos, is it already part of your system? How, do you require it as part of your resiliency goals? And set up some SLAs or SLOs and devise some objectives, part of which is part of your basically the resiliency objectives or the reliability objectives. And next up, you start with the basic principles, the idea of chaos, the definition of chaos, and then slowly you start inducing the practice into your organization or into your infrastructure. I think this is something which helps you create an identity or just create a practice in the enterprise you're working in, and then slowly you shift being a chaos engineer. I mean, chaos engineering is more than just breaking things on purpose. It's like breaking things on purpose to make your systems reliable or resilient. And first you just need to get the idea of it, and then slowly move on to game days to create curate chaos for your specific applications, understand more and more experimentations, and then perhaps when you start contributing, I think that completes the overall idea of being a chaos engineer. And I think I see some answers from Dudu, Zikyang, Amrish. I think, yeah, they also kind of answer it, that it's just a mindset and methodology, and you can actually apply it in any sort of engineering field. I hope that answers your question, Amit.
Yeah, exactly. So Prithvi, I think I've shared all the details. So I'll probably stop sharing my screen. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Amit. So moving on, I mean, that was a great start, Amit. Thanks a lot. We'll be moving on. We'll have the second item on the agenda, where we'll be talking about creating your own chaos experiments. And I will allow Om Kale, another core contributor of the Litmus Chaos project. You might have seen him in some talks here and there. So Om, perhaps you can get started, share your screen, and talk about the Python SDK and creating your own experiments.
Thank you, Prithvi. I'm audible?
Yes, Om, you're audible.
Thank you. Okay, so screen is visible?
Yes, Om, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll start about the Litmus Python thing and SDK thing. So agenda is like
Om, perhaps you can just increase your volume a little bit.
Okay, sure, Prithvi. Hello.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Okay, so talking about the creating our own chaos, we are like having Litmus SDKs in Go and Python. We will in this demo we'll be covering about the Python SDK. We are using the SDK. You will get the basic structure for to create a chaos, inject a chaos, creating events, creating results, and observing it. So before wasting time, let's start. So this is a Litmus Python where we can see there is, for example, we have one pod delete experiment to take a reference for that, and we are like we have contributed developer guide for to design and create our own chaos. So moving into this, so there are like couple of things. Templates are provided, which is like using that we create our chart experiments and all the stuff. So we need to create our own chaos. First of all, we need some business logic, charts, manifest, and to observe it whatever the results is coming, and chaos result CR. So before installation to that, there are like a couple of the requirements also, like we need like Jinja, Python, some basic stuff for that. So we have to just clone the Litmus Python repo. We have to enter into the contributor developer guide for SDK. So the same directory. So there we will find out that there is one manifest which is named as the attribute.yaml. So in this manifest, this is the manifest which we'll be using for complete creation of like basic structure. So in this manifest, we can see that there is a name which is used. Okay, so there is a name which is used. This name is used for everywhere for creating business logic for wherever the name is required. This name is same will be reflected into the hub as well. Let me show you. So you can see that there are you can see that there are a couple of experiments which is having name and the type of like the category for this. So the same thing will be reflected there. So whatever you will provide here, the category and name will be reflected there. So we basically, whatever the first chart comes up, we provide the version defaultly 0.1.0, and we can also keep our repository also where this is wherever this experiment logic is there. So we can like take reference for that. We can add some couple of community links also. We can have a description regarding the things. We can add keywords, whatever the respective keywords which are like relevant to our experiment. We can add your whatever the platforms which we have used. So same thing, we can see the whatever we have provided. So for suppose there is the example, so that the same thing will be reflected here in this manner. So this is the stuff. So there is the next thing is that the scope thing. So scope is basically defined for like namespace and cluster scope. In namespace for scope, we can see there are experiments like the pod level experiments, or like we can use the namespace. If there is an infra thing or the node level experiments, then we can use it is like the cluster scope. So we can like categorize the things. We can use also auxiliary abject for our kiosk. And there's another thing is that the permissions, which is basically this is the info manifest. This is the same permissions which we are required for the experiment. So to kiosk creating during the kiosk, which are the permissions we require, that is shown here. This the maturity level default it is the alpha. Once we can like by the time we can like change it. So default it is given. So maintainers we are like whoever creating the kiosk, they can add their names here. So example list, the maintainer will be reflected here like the same thing. So this is the manifest for the all stuff. So provider, which is the organization from where the maintainer is there. So this can be provided. We can also some references, or we can like suppose there is a some YouTube video or some documentation or some references where we can also add that so that it will be reflected and can be like useful. So okay, so this is the basic stuff which we'll be using. So next, let's start creating our charts. So this is the -f attribute, which is the basically attribute file which is can pass. And there are the two more attributes which are the -g, which is a generate type, and the another is -t. So in -g, like we have two types, experiment and charts. So charts will be covering all the corresponding charts for the experiment, like it can be chart service version, experiment, RBAC, engine. So whatever the relevant things are there, we can like get from -g, and -t is basically just like specific categories covering the category charts only, and it's a sample category and sample class execution, the two categories, and the experiments will be relative experiments. On by default it is also they both get created, and in the sample category if you use this corresponding image icon also get created for the particular thing. So let's get started. So I already cloned the Python repo. So we have to just enter into contribute. Attribute file is already there. So get just before this, just look into here. There is a experimenting. Nothing is there. Okay, so experimenting is there only. The only generic type of experiment is there for delete, which is. So we can see that it has shown the experiment created successfully. Now we have the business logic for that. Now we have experiment. By defaultly, we have used sample like category and sample execution name default names. So we can see that there are two things get created. One is the test file. We'll talk more about that later on. And the first thing is that the sample execution py. So this is the main. This is the basic structure which we have provided. This is the common for most of the experiments. The only thing is that if there is some change, something is getting changed, then we can add one more like function to check on that. But the basic this is the structure where we can have most of like our experiments. to, and this the in this experiment there is like another thing which we have like created. That one is like the lib thing, chaos lib, which is called here only. Prepare lib thing. So this is the lib directory also created. That's the second thing which is created from the same generate file. The first thing is sample, like inside the experiment sample category. And one is like the, so inside the chaos lib, that is the sample execution chaos. This is the lib directory. This is the business logic where like exactly the what chaos we are going to inject. So defaultly we have provided the pod CPU execution chaos. So this is the business logic. One can like implement that whenever implementing. So same structure will be there, and the default things are getting provided. We have to just optimize our this, like we have to just optimize the logic, business logic for the chaos experiment. Once it get like done, so this is the structure. The third thing is getting added here is like the package thing. Whatever the required things for our experiment is like the environment thing. So environments are setting it. So by default, like just use it like the chaos, and we can also like keep it like add the whole required things. Like by default, there are the all null strings are there in chaos inject and chaos kill and everything commands which are the relevant to our experiment, because this is the pod CPU execution chaos. So CPU hogging is there. Basically, we will going to eat CPU. So we need two commands. To one is the eat and one is to kill. So this is the required. This is the basic which is required for the experiment. So one has to add their own same environments into this. And the second thing is that type, whatever like we need the types and all. So once this is the basic directory structure and logic is there. So one can like pause me and ask the questions, or if there is a relevant question or something. So this is the first thing. We are like we are ready with the logic stuff basically using this. So now we'll come to the testing later. So this now we have experiment things ready. Now we need chart also. So you can see charts are like created. Okay, so charts are getting like, we can see one more thing is that is there. This is a chart. So engine, experiment, RBAC, chaos category, chart, service version chart. This is the package for this. What we will going to this do this thing. Basically, charts are getting prepared to add on this to into hub thing. So if you have like observed this hub thing, we can here look into this is the structure for the pod delete thing. We can see here like there are a couple of steps and all, and also there. So this same thing, but we have to add this thing here. Like we have the supporting directly with the chaos charts. So we can see that the chaos chart is there. So the same hub, whatever the reflected in hub, it is coming from the chaos chart. So to like once we are ready with our experiment, we have to add on all the charts thing here, and workflows are like it's predefined workflows here. So let's have a look here. So once we are ready with this, let's test it. So we have provided two ways to test it on. One is like using Octato thing, and second one is using the Python environment thing. So for these two things, one is like in the documentation is showing the Octato thing, and having one more block, that one is like it's a basic setup for the Python environment thing. So one can prefer the Octato thing because Octato is simply deploying things and just executing it in the specific environment, whatever the Python, Go or Java, and using the environment they like we can test on. So we don't need to install externally like Python and all. We can simply use the Octato, or if we this we need Python and basic stuff to get installed. So both things is like working. So let's have here, let's start testing. There are a couple of things which we need to add into like our Litmus Python only. So first thing is that we need to add, we have to import. I have already imported, I believe. So we have to import the same thing from like same like the coordinate. One can take reference from there. So here, what we have to just import from the sample category thing, sample chaos execution, and we have to just add one elif case to our like experiment. So we have already added this thing. So And the second thing which we need to add, because this like Python thing, so we to define our directories and to add all the directories into our in this project, to let the Python also know that this is the directory is present here. So we have to add this thing externally. So this is also here. So we have to add this thing. So one can take a look here. Also we have mentioned in docs also we have mentioned. So we have to add on this directories before before running our experiment. And one small note also there, because in Python what we have done with we can view the name in minus sign also keeping into that, but when you import from another directory, so that is the it will throw error. So we need to keep our file names into the standard format. But the same thing is getting also reflected in charts also, but charts it is deprecated. So if you can see that, suppose this is a chart, there is, you can see that some sample category and some it is all the stuff is using like underscore only. So we have to replace that thing. It keeps using like minus. So why we have to like do that stuff. So once we are ready with this stuff all, we can like go and run our experiment. So one thing remember here, whenever we make some changes into our like directory, we have to run this command. Okay, so Python Octato is already up, I believe. One have to also install the basic stuff, like we have to create a deployment, install the RBAC thing, install the test thing, we talk this. Require permissions for to run this experiment, and the target application which is required. Let me show you. This is already there. Okay, so one is Octato pod is running like Litmus experiment, and another is our like target pod is also running. So we have both the stuff. Here we have like Octato. You have to just simply run the Octato thing to start the Octato. So for to start Octato, we need a test file. We have to apply the test file as well. This is the test file where we have to pass like our we have added a service account also. Like we have to pass the target app namespace, app label. This is the target application. Whatever the like defaultly we are using the Nginx here. You can pass like total duration, auxiliary, RAM time, lib, kiosk namespace. We are like for this like the default one here. So we have to just apply this file. Applying the RBAC, I already applied. So this skipping the step. And so tester. So one pod will come up. So this is the Octato pod, and this is the Octato environment. So let's start. So we have to first of all, once we are like we have to enter into the Octato environment. We have to run like we have to install the basic stuff which is required to. And another is to set up the directory file. Okay, perfect. So we are ready with the thing. Test X. So okay, let me enter into the path. So we can see that like what we have one thing. We have use here this name, kiosk name. We can use anything to get this. So we have to same pass the same parameter to call this kiosk. We can see that like target application is this. Let's click VVM-PM6. So this is VVM-PM6. This is the target application, and it started the kiosk executing the kiosk. It started eating the CPU, and like we can check on. So it still continues waiting for 30 seconds because the time thing which we have provided is 30. So most of like parameters we have the parameters is like simply null. So it will not inject any clause because the inside package we have like empty thing. So command sign is empty, and the other things which are parts in the test file, so that will be taken from that. So we are like ready. This is the working step. So once we get confirmation that it is work. So next thing is that we have to simply build our Docker image for this. Once it get built, we have to just same thing. We have to second step is that once we are ready with this stuff, the second step is that we have to enter into the chaos charts thing. The same thing, we have to clone this repo. We have to clone the chaos chart repo. Once it got cloned, we have to update at two places. One is the chart thing, and one can be also updated if workflow, if is like interested to add as a experiment as a predefined workflow to test it on. So we have to also add into the workflow thing is also. So first is charts. So chart thing will be just so simply we have to use the category thing. Another minor note that is like what the directory which we have created in another Litmus Python is this in this format and like underscore. So when we when we are going to add it on into the chaos charts, we have to just replace that underscore with minus sign, same like in between like this. This is the only rememberable thing. Once you are like added, we have to add the sample execution clause. So the old stuff which we have added is like the same stuff which we have created in our charts. Let me show you. So this is like engine experiment RBAC and same stuff we have to add, and we can like take a reference from and the format. To take a format reference, we have to like anyone like any experiment can be taken. Like suppose this is the Cassandra, so same thing we have to follow, and we have to add on in this format. So this format is basically used to in like chaos chart to export the things into the chaos hub to show it on. So this is like we have to like two icons. By default we are providing the Kubernetes icons only for the sample execution category thing. So this is like format. We have to add the chart service version from here. We have created their charts. So these charts is used here. Basically, experiment is to test on the business logic, and chart folder is to add the things into the chaos chart to show it on the chaos hub. So the same category, the same this like stuff is there. So same format we have to copy and like just to add here engine file, experiment file, permissions file are back. One can also update it by default with the role for the class. It's for the namespace level, so one can also like update it as per requirement like cluster role or something. So these are the basic sample execution folder. This icon also needed. And the second thing is like the second we have to also set the package thing to set on the directory and add the chart service version for the sample category. And the above one was like this for the sample execution process. Once we are ready with this, we have to simply add it like and we have to commit it. Once we have committed, like we can like have a look into like here. This is the control plane basically to test the to run workflows, to run experiments, to observe the experiments and to monitor the stuff. There are like a couple of other things also, like it's a good thing, like how the user statistics setting, observability, cross hub and agents. So this is the self default agent which we'll be using to test on the things. One can connect the agent to like other Kubernetes cluster as well. So let's go to hub, like to connect the new hub. Cross. One can also add the private by using the SSH key or access token, or like we can like use by suppose like this one is my one is like the public only, so I'm using the public thing. So we can add this. So for the time being, let's confirm that once we are done with the business logic, whatever the image which we have built it, just remember that we have to also update that thing in our experiment file. So this is the experiment. So we have to update this image into there. And we have to also pass their like their as argument as a name like yours and all. We have to update this wherever the experiment file is there, like two places are there inside the charts and one places for like in workflow. So we have to also the same thing that we need to update in workflow thing. So because this stuff like we have to like I have updated recently, which we are going to and the same to call on the particular function. So once we push this, this will be reflected in like browser also. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is the predefined workflow thing, which is the workflow thing, which is shown here. We will also look like things. And the second thing is there is like sample charts also it will be reflected. So this is the thing. So let's have like to run on it. Let's select like yourself, which is like recently created. So this will be like basically add-on, whatever we have added workflow which we have pushed, like it will be getting added here, and we can also update that stuff using here like one visualization graph will also come. It might be like diffusion, indentation. So this is like basic stuff. We can like add and update the things. We have like our target application is in the default namespace only, and deployment is type kind type it, and the labels has been passed. So we can also add our probes also. There are like 4 probes particularly we can check on. So one is like HTTP to this is particular like web-based application mainly based on. This is the command prompt to sharing and bash the thing. This is the Kubernetes probe. Basically, it will go and like we can have some Kubernetes checks also. And this is Prometheus probe, which is like basically based on monitoring stuff. So once you are like ready with this, we can also tune our total duration and other basic parameters which are required. The second, another thing is that there are like inject. We are like this time we are actually passing the inject and kill command to eat the CPU for the pod. And one note is that in Python, when we are like in Go, we are like Go routing. In Python, we are like use the multi-threading. So if we execute into if some thread, it will like Kubernetes API won't be working in another thread. So we have to use the AND operator to pass and just we will execute into the first thread. We will execute this command and we'll pass on that thread and will come into the another thread so that they will. So when you're like if you use the execute command something, so we have to use AND operator at the end of like whatever the command is there. So we have updated the command on all the stuff which is required target application what for percentage and all. So there is a single pod only, so it's not an issue. So we have to also updated the inject and all command. So let's finish it and let's tune it. So we have, so this is like basically a weightage thing. So if you have the 3 or 4 experiments, we can do the weightages to particular experiment, and that on the basis of the weightages, we will get our like a percentage for that like experimenting or the percentage. So it will be like a sum of like the mean value for that its weightages and what is the uh, proof percentage is there. So in this, like we have, you might have observed, there are 2 manifests. Like one is the cron manifest and one is the workflow manifest. So cron manifest will be used to run because like we have to also compare the thing to our whenever we inject our clause on our application what in multiple times. So we can also recurrently schedule that thing today, day wise, monthly wise, or time hourly basis, daily basis, so weekly basis. So in this way, we can also tune our workflow also. So let's use now the schedule now thing and let's continue. Let's finish it. So it has been started. So once it gets started, it will install like it will set up the things. Basic experiment CR will be set up at this step. So we can have a look here. let's wait for some time. Okay, so it has like installed. So this is like the actual experiment has been it's getting started now. Okay, so inject basically Chaos engine will invoke this like Chaos experiment, and it has been invoked and it is in running state. So let's have a look against the log thing. So we can check that it is working, and time which we have passed, it will wait. It is actually injected the kill command into the pod, and it is getting like waiting for the whatever time period we have Chaos interval we have provided for the this Chaos experiment, and it has like it injected, and it has the time period has been completed. It has successfully completed our experiment. So congrats, like we have done, like we have tested the one when we have created one Chaos experiment now. We have also updated the same experiment into Chaos chart. We can see here. So once it get like the same stuff will be like reflected in the Chaos chart also once like it comes into the main Chaos project, because currently I'm using the same mine. So we have the sample execution here and chart also here. So we are ready. We are done with this. And also we have like look into our business logic also for the Litmus Python thing, and we have like gone a little bit around some directory stuff also. Structure of the directory for like a Litmus Python. The same is followed by the sister repo Litmus Go also. And like we are following the same thing. We are also done with business logic. We are also tested it locally using the Optato thing, and we are also updated in the same thing with Chaos chart. We have gone through the Chaos center and also tune one workflow. Now that once we got the tuned workflow, we need to analyze the things, what exactly happened, how it affected. So we have some observability also. So using this observability, we have recently like only ran one single workflow. So if there is and we haven't added any probe also. So if that's why it's showing 100. So you might get like 70%, 100%, or 50% also. So on the same thing will be like we can have sorry. So same thing, if there are the multiple workflows are there, we can analyze the things. If in first Chaos injection we have achieved the 50%, or in second we have achieved the 75%. If we add the probes, if we go and inject, like if we make some changes inside our application and we make some resilient to our application, we can get it some higher 85%. So there is like no probes on nothing. That's why we get 100%. So using this, we can like make our application like bit more resilient and all the stuff. So we can also see some more statistics for this. So this type of stuff will come. If someone is having their own exporting the matrix, so we can like set up our data source as well in observability, like into this thing. So just have to go to data source and add the data store data source for this. Like one can have the Prometheus thing also. So we have to just add on the things, and it will also start. There is some couple of default. So currently no data source for this for CPU execution, like on the application there. So we don't have source. That is why what we can see exactly. Like, okay, so. Okay, so data source is not there, so it was not good. But if it's there, like we can add, and we can actually add our like so many graphs, and we can observe the things during our Chaos injection. What is the downfall? Where exactly it got failed? What is the equilibrium point? Like where is exactly the benchmark is there after that experiment is failing or passing? So we can like have like so many extra. So basic thing is that like we have created the experiment around using like Litmus Python SDK. We have tested it out. If someone is have any doubt or like any queries, like anyone can ask for the same.
Yeah, I have few. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So one question was mostly around. I mean, are there any standardization around this chaos manifest that you were showing? So like the experiments that you were showing, right? So I mean, my question is more about interoperability of these manifests. Is it possible, like the one generated from by one tool is usable in another? Are there any standardization around this?
If I understand your current question, so you want to say that you have generated manifest from other, you have your own custom manifest, and you have to implement, you have to import this that manifest here, right?
So if there is any standardization around, right, or specification as such, then I assume those would be then become interoperable, right? With from one a artifact generated by one tool could be imported by another one. So that makes
Yes, yes,
quite
yes, 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 yes. That can be like, yeah.
so there are
But,
sorry,
sorry.
please. No, please go ahead.
Yeah, you may go ahead first.
Yeah. So then it means there are some standardization around these chaos experiments that you showed around, right? Like the manifest that you showed, right? For example, pod delete, and so there are different. I mean, pod delete might be a predefined experiment. There are custom experiments which you showed as well, right? So those can be used in another tool as well, is what I understood, right? So
Yes,
is
yes,
it
yes.
okay?
Yeah. So basically, we can use any like we can use like any manifest, like, and we also can generate the basic. Only the main thing is that we need the same, the basic structure will be like must be same. So metadata and the permissions, like suppose example, we need for there is a particular experiment, we need suppose there are a couple of permissions. So that permissions must be added into your like your manifest. Metadata must be same. So the request of should be same. It is like independent of where from you generate the manifest. So it is not like it limited to we have to generate from the same. You can implement, you can use the same manifest at other places also. Like there are like other examples also. Let me show you. This is like when you select schedule workflow, select agent. So it is not required to add a draw chart, or suppose if you are the simple manifest, if you can go the upload manifest, you can upload your manifest and you can simply run your workflow. Like this is like, this can be also possible. It is not like required to just generate and export a particular directory, or like it's a particular GitHub repo. You can use your own custom manifest. You can generate from anywhere you are like generating currently, and you can just upload that manifest. You can like import like use your own, like suppose you have example, you have suppose like the Dixful manifest you are, and you are like using that. So you can just go and directly select your manifest. You are doing the parameters you need to, which can be tuned by your hardcodely, or which you can also you tune like later on, like was we have recently showed that we can also select a target application, whatever the probes you can add. So we can like using UI also you can tune the things if there is something missing into manifest. Is it?
Yeah. To add on that, I think so. It somehow depends on the capabilities of the tool in which you want to integrate Litmus. So in Litmus, there is a term called BYOC, bring your own chaos. Here you can integrate like some of the tools we have used, libs called Pumbaa, where you can use the Pumbaa images inside the chaos engine manifest of Litmus and can run the experiment. So this will execute the business logic of the experiment will be executed using Pumbaa. And so similarly, you are having your own test scenarios written somewhere. So you can use that as well.
That answers. Thanks.
You can create your own custom image, or if you have that lib, you can just integrate with using this. I think Python also does have that. I think you can share that.
Okay, so yeah, there is like a, thank you Udit for adding BYOC thing. So BYOC is like bring your own clause. So whatever like it's business logic you have your own. So you can add just business logic here. Whatever the currently in Litmus 5 for delete, we are using the Litmus lib. So we can, you can use like whatever like your own lib is having. So you have to just like add on the stuff here. You can use like own library also, like the support lib is that this is the Litmus for delete lib is there. So you can add and into the BYOC thing, and the same thing will be like the flow will be same later on, like once we have added into the your experiment into BYOC.
This answers. Thanks. I had one more question. So how can one integrate this whole workflow as part of, say, their CI pipeline? So for example, I for my product, I want these to be triggered just before as a quality gate before any major release, right? So that's something. How can this be done?
Okay, so yeah, so your target you want to like add into like pipeline thing.
Yeah. Say GitLab or say so Jenkins. So any CI pipeline. So just before a major release, would like to kind of have so we have just like system test and integration test, right? So we also want but then the frequency of running this is not very often. So we just want it to be triggered just before a major release, so that like we are sure around like things are all good. So right. So how do one integrate this to their CI pipeline? The workflow that you talked about, right? This whole thing of more on the
Okay.
execution part. Yeah.
Udit, like
Yeah,
Udit
I
can
think-
answer this better.
Yeah, thanks, Om. So you can run the experiment on your CI stage, as you mentioned. The Litmus also provides some chaos templates that can help you in this. You can integrate it and like GitHub remote templates and GitHub Actions. So GitHub remote template is something which is quite used in GitLabs, and so I'm also sharing you in the chat some of the FAQs related to CI/CDs, which will tell you, will give you more details on this. Yeah, so you can use this thing. I think I can share my screen, Om, if you allow that. Yeah. Thanks, Om. Yeah, hopefully my screen is visible. So if you can see it, there is something called chaos CI lib we have, which is a center point for all CI integration. We have some integration templates, Spinnaker templates, plugin, and GitHub Actions. So we can make use of this. Or the other way is like you can also use your custom scripts or logic. You can write some script which will continuously validating the chaos completion and use that in a stage of your CI pipeline. I think that would be.
I'll just have a look to this chaos CI lib. Yeah, at least the template one that you showed. Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks.
Hello, I have a question. What's the roadmap of the Chaos SDK? I saw most of Chaos experiments were written in the Go runner. What's the point of the Python runner? Thank you.
So can you please repeat the question?
Oh yeah. What's the roadmap of the Chaos SDK? Because I saw most Chaos experiments on the Chaos Hub were implemented in the Litmus Go, the Go runner. And what's the difference between the Python SDK and the Go SDK, and what's the point of the Python SDK? And I only saw there is only a pod delete example in the Python SDK, and but the official pod deletion experiment is writing in Go. So what could Python SDK do something that better than Go SDK?
Hey everyone. Hi Ziking, hi Om. I'll probably like to take this question.
Yeah.
If you're okay with that, Om.
Yeah, thank you, Karthik, for.
Yeah, so I think we have some interest coming in from the community members on creating experiments in Go. So as you might have noticed, the Litmus experiments have a specific template in terms of how they run, in terms of what processes it performs as part of the experiment run. So there are developers who are primarily using Python in their day-to-day jobs and would like to construct experiments in Python. And we just facilitated those developers to help create their experiments using the Python SDK tool, while the hub, like you rightly pointed out, contains experiments that are written in Golang, which is what we generally place on the hub. the Litmus Python repository contains an illustration of how developers could probably write their own experiments using Python. That is the idea of the BYOC, where people write their own faults in whatever language they like, and then they follow a specific process to containerize it and get it orchestrated by Litmus. So what we have today, Litmus Python and the Litmus SDK, is basically an illustration and a sample for how people can write their own experiments using Python, by still following the similar template or similar structure of experiment that you would see in Golang or, for example, Ansible. That is also one of the examples that we have in terms of SDK. I hope that answers.
Yeah, I think I could understand it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one more question with respect to this custom experiments. How about the debuggability support? So how do one debug the custom experiments they have written? Is it a feasibility to do it kind of a left shift test, right? Instead of really taking it to a test, to a sandbox or to an environment, is it possible still to kind of have a sanity test of the experiments right in the right in its laptop? Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible to do that if you have a Minikube or a Docker desktop or some kind of a Kubernetes environment that you have running on your laptop. It's possible to test these in a simple way. There's also a very small integration that we have done with a tool called as Octato, which helps you to test and develop in cluster. That is, you can bring up a development environment right on the cluster. You could change or edit the code in your favorite editors, and the changes will get reflected on your clusters. There is a SyncThing based integration that Octato has, which ensures that
So
the
I'm
code is
aware of
available
Octato.
on the cluster.
Yeah, I'm aware of Octato. So it's something similar to telepresence, right? I do not know if you. So something like you are able to remotely debug from right from your ID, right? So that's what
right.
it is. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
If you have a local cluster, then you can use the Octato template in these repositories to stand up an experiment pod and then probably run tests and debug it.
Okay. And you mentioned with Minikube as well. So it means basically if I have a Minikube setup, I can also test it without a dependency to a remote cluster.
That's right.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Sanjeev. Thanks a lot, Zikang, Karthik, and all for answering and asking such questions. I'll request you all to join the Slack channel for any follow-up questions or to stay in touch. So I've just posted the link to the Slack channel once again. So those folks who haven't joined can perhaps join the channel. And unfortunately, I mean, we wanted an open floor discussion or a session where we could introduce everyone, but I think time doesn't allow us that. So I'll just allow Udit to share his screen and talk about the E2E dashboards and a little bit on the enhancements, history, and everything. So Udit, perhaps the floor is yours. You can take it forward.
Okay, sure, Prithvi, thanks. I'll be sharing my screen. Hello, everyone. I am Udit, one of the maintainers of Litmus, and I'll be discussing with you the latest enhancements that we bring in Litmus 2.0, which is one of the major enhancements about E2E dashboard. So as you know that in Chaos Hub, we have a number of experiments. These experiment targets different targets on different platform services, infra chaos and pod level chaos, and such types of services targeting different services. So these experiments need to have some stability criteria, like the test cases on which it should run. So all these things are covered in our component called Litmus E2E. If you are aware of it, we used to have some websites earlier which gives us some information about the stability of the experiments. So we have a pipelines here which will tell you which experiments ran, how are they running against a particular set of tests. So and this is very important. This brings the need of having a visualization of all these things. So this brings the needs of having a dashboard for it, in short. So like that's where we introduced a new E2E dashboard where our LFX mentees are helping us with this. And this is the first view of this dashboard, and it is under progress right now, and probably be at a better shape in the next release, so that we can use it. So this is the home screen of the dashboard. Here you can see a couple of buttons, like a home button, which will show all the pipelines you are having. These are the set of pipelines like nightly builds. Nightly builds are those pipelines which are, you can filter them clicking on manual and nightly builds. So these are those pipelines which are on scheduled basis. On every night, it will trigger the set of tests, the whole pipeline will run and let you know that which one are passed and which one is getting failed. If you go to the details, you will get to know you will get the details of the pipeline execution. So like it's a everyday run, as I mentioned. So you can see these are the other set of information about the pipeline execution. You are getting the commit IDs of the latest commit before this pipeline triggered, so that you can filter, you can check out the if any bug introduced, then you can check at which state it is coming in using this commit IDs. So this is all used to check, like this is just make our task easier to find bugs and correct them. So this is one thing. Now there is some manual execution. If you want to run with your own tags, with your own service accounts, with your own images, so all you can you want to see like how it performs. So you can use, for that purpose, you can use this. So you can see the names or the different names of the pipelines are here. So I'll just very briefly tell you about these pipelines. So GCP experiment pipelines, these type of like AWS experiment, GCP experiment pipeline, these are covering all those platform experiments test cases. Like AWS will have some EC2, EBS, SSM services, which we are targeting. We are having these experiments. So this pipeline will take care of those experiment stabilities, how the tests are running for those on everyday basis. And GCP similarly will take care for the GCP platforms. We have VM instance top experiment, we have disk loss experiment. So similarly, for these are two non-Kubernetes chaos experiment, and others are like node level experiments, component pipeline, which checks the different component of Litmus, like operator, runner, which also checks some of the static components, like not really static, just like results and other things which at the end you want to validate. And some pod level pipelines, like all these pod delete, container kill, pod and container, all these tests are written here. If you go inside this, you will see the whole pipeline. Now, one more step, if you go inside a certain execution, you can see the whole list of pipelines. I can also, we can also check it for some of the pipelines. Like component pipelines, we take care, as I mentioned, for different components, and you can see. So these contain some 5 jobs, and you will get to know like what are the stages of these jobs, how they perform. Like I ran app info test, which actually checks the app info feature of the Litmus. In which you provide the app information, you check annotation check. We have a bot chaos checklist, is engine state, we call it. Job cleanup policy is running fine or not. So all these features which are there, which we tune using Chaos Engine. So this component test, first one is Chaos Engine test. So this Chaos Engine test will take care of all those things. Service account test, whether the service account is currently mapped, secret and config maps are correctly used, like that. So this is a very useful thing. And similarly, we have for operator test, we are having reconcile resiliency and other tests like that. So all these pipeline contains these number of tests, and we are continuously increasing on it also. We have a plan where we will add a new test that needs to be added. We'll add the roadmap of that, and we can come and contribute, and we can also enhance that, so that at the end of the day, our experiments should should be like stable. And it also contains the chaos center tests. When you must have seen the previous demos of Amit and Om, there is a chaos center UI. So we also have a Cypress test written for this, and these tests actually test all these things like basic login test, execution plane test, portal authentication, all these tests. So this also helps us to measure the stability of those things as well, like what is the UI front of Litmus, that is Chaos Center, how it's behaving. So and there is one more things we introduced, that is all workflow. This is quite this will tell you about the recently executed workflows. When you go to the all workflows, right now there is nothing here, but you will get the recently executed. So in place of, so when you run a release build, so in release build, all these pipelines will run. So you don't have to enter on each of them and check the stability. You can just see the all workflows and the latest workflow execution. You can like conclude like, yeah, so how many are passed and how many are failed? Are we good to move ahead? So yeah, so these are some of the steps which we were taking to visualize the E2E stability to the community. And we can also contribute on the test cases, and can always increase the test cases and optimize these as well. So probably on the next release, which will be, I think, after a couple of weeks ago after, so we'll also see some this dashboard in a better shape. You can also see the logs for the experiment coming in the steps where I showed you the steps. So I think this is the PR. I think this is Aman, who is actually contributing here. He's our LFX mentee. And yeah, so I think these were the very short introduction to what progress we are making on E2E side. Other than this, the major focus on this release was on our hardened Alpine images that bring another. Just go to Litmus E2E. Sorry, Litmus repo, main repo, and we have the release notes. So yeah, so hardened Alpine, this helps to yeah, I facing some issue from laptop. Yeah, sorry for that. So hardened Alpine, this will help you to give you a secure image. That this image will be this image is added to all Litmus components as the base image, so that your size and also the security of the image will increase. There will be less OS vulnerabilities. In our Docker files, we must see that there is some OS vulnerability if you use some other operating system base image. So there is less OS vulnerability image. It restricts some of the commands or some of the commands that can be a security threat. So that's why we introduced this, and we have introduced for almost all the components. I think this front-end component that is left with it, otherwise it is implemented for others. And yeah, so these were the steps, and we are also checking for every commits. We are checking whether what are the vulnerability status. Does that commit contains for all the components? If someone is pushing our code that commit is containing any vulnerability issues, then our check will fail and let you know, like, okay, so you need to fix this, or you need to look an alternative for this. Yeah, so these were the main highlights. There are all other features. You can go to release notes and can take a look. Yeah, so I think this is all from my side. We are more of a time, so I would like to end here. Thanks. Any questions?
Thanks a lot, Udit. I think that was a great walkthrough through the release notes. And with this, we conclude the agenda items, but perhaps we see there are a lot of folks who are here, and we can take some time just for some introductions or just for some questions. So perhaps I'll just allow some new folks who have joined in after long to just introduce themselves, just talk a little bit about themselves, how they look at chaos engineering, and if they have anything for us, any inputs or any questions. So we can have it one by one. So I'll start from the end. We have Zishan and Wumi. Perhaps Zishan and Wumi, you can just introduce yourselves and go ahead. I guess I'll have to call out one by one. So other than that, I see Varun, Tink, Sanjeet. Perhaps any one of you can just introduce yourselves to the community.
So I can go on. So I'm Sanjeet. I am currently working as a software engineer in VMware. So I belong to the CTO group of VMware. So there essentially we are mostly concentrating on the multi-cloud related aspects. So with respect to chaos engineering, so that's one of the thing that we are also doing some research on that aspect. So my idea of joining this session was more to understand the community and what actually are going on around this particular part. So it's more of my personal interest. I joined and just wanted. This is the first time, in fact, I was joining. Yeah. So thanks a lot for the great session. I really it was enriching for me at least. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sanjeet, for those words. Other folks, we have Ramadhan, Tink. Perhaps if you would want to introduce yourself.
Sorry, it's for me, right?
Yes.
Introducing myself, right? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for letting me introduce myself. Uh, I am a cloud architect in a tech company in Indonesia, especially. I manage some microservice in Kubernetes currently, and manage some language like Golang, mostly Golangs alongside Node.js. And then I also try to implement a service mesh Istio. And then for my journey, for the next step, actually I try to understand what is chaos engineering. Actually, so in this session, I try to understand what is actually chaos engineering. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rizki Ramadhan. That was a
Yeah,
good intro. I hope this session helped you out a lot.
yeah. Thank you.
So perhaps next up we have Meghna. Meghna, can you just introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Meghna. I'm from VMware and I work as a site reliability engineer. So my team has been looking at chaos engineering recently. So I thought of joining in here to understand more about it. And this session was really helpful. I'm sorry I joined in late, but I can look at the recording later. So thanks for this great session.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Meghna, for joining in. I'll be posting the link. If you have joined the Slack channel, then you can obviously find the recording, or I'll be posting the link to the YouTube channel, so you can always check that out, and you can find the recording there, and all the other
Sure.
videos
Thank
as
you.
well. So next up, I think we have Dudu and Ambrish. Dudu is someone who's been joining in a lot of chaos engineering meetups or was part of the chaos carnival as well. I'll talk about it later on, but if she can just introduce herself to the community.
Hi, I'm Dudu. I'm attending from Edinburgh and I enjoyed today. Thank you for sharing the features and more insights. Thank you.
Hey, this is Amrit. I'm from California. I'm staff engineer for the Freedom Finance Network. It's still in the credit debt in the US. And we do share like 40% of the credit debt in the US. I'm looking into the app support, SRE, and the performance engineering. I'm already doing the chaos, okay, but that's all manual, running some command and that way, okay. What I'm looking basically like how using the open source I can automate my processes, okay, and I can like check against my whatever the SLO we have. That is what is my goal basically.
Thanks a lot, Ambrish. Thanks a lot, Dudu. I hope this session was useful to you, Ambrish, and you can always join the community and we can always have follow-up questions or help you get started with your journey and within your journey as well. So with this, perhaps we come to the end of this Chaos Engineering meetup. One last thing perhaps I would like to announce is that we announced Chaos Carnival. It's a global event being hosted on the 27th and 28th of January based on Chaos Engineering completely. It has a lot of amazing talks, a lot of amazing folks joining from around the world, and a live Chaos panel discussion as well, and 4 workshops, and a lot for the Chaos Engineering community. So I'm just posting the link to the conference. So in case you folks are interested, or I mean, it's obviously a must watch if you're a Chaos Engineering enthusiast. So you can just register for the conference. If you want to deliver a talk, you can obviously submit your talk as well. The CFPs are open. So just take a look at Chaos Carnival and rest. See you all on Slack. This meetup obviously happens on every last Saturday of the month, as Ajesh mentioned. So you can, I hope everyone has the calendar invite. You can join in the last Saturdays, and it was great to see you all on a Saturday, especially enjoying your weekend and just joining in for a bit of chaos. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. It was a pleasure to have you all, and hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks, everyone.